So you are struggling with your Google Ads. And that's fine, because there is a lot that goes into creating a successful, high converting Google ad copy. And this is the exact reason I created this framework. So first of all, let's break it down why Google ad copy is hard. So this boils down to two specific sections. So reason one is you have a large quantity to write. So with the new responsive search ads made by Google, we now have 15 headlines to write and 30 characters in each to fill. Okay, so each of these is a headline, each of these is a description. And as well as 15 headlines, we also have 4 descriptions to write at 90 characters each. Okay, so there's a lot of quantity there to write, but there is also quality that you need to bear in mind. Writing persuasive ad copy is hard. Okay, and when we write our Google ad copy, we need to make sure we're putting in as many persuasive elements as possible. I mean, here are just 12 plus we need to be including in our ad copy in every headline and description combination. So we have the relevant keywords we're bidding on. We have our product benefits, our product features, our value proposition, our desired outcome, our offer, our guarantee, emotional triggers, qualifying price, social proofing, scarcity, and calls to actions. So there's a lot we need to include in terms of persuasive elements alone. And so what does this quantity and persuasive elements lead to? This leads to analysis paralysis. Okay, when we're filling in headlines, we have 15 to fill in. So we're just like sort of in a way fighting to find ideas to fill in. But I guarantee you with this exact framework, you will be wanting more headlines and more descriptions to write with. So what is the solution to this? Well, the solution to this is a framework which I'm going to go over here that basically makes us include all of the persuasive elements needed to create high converting ad copy that is liked by not only Google but by the searchers. Okay, so this is an important thing to remember when you're filling in your ad copy within your headlines and descriptions, your ad strength. So our aim, and I guarantee you it'll be a lot easier with this framework, is to get to either good or, if not excellent. I'm not even going to say good. We want to get to excellence in every ad strength of each ad. Okay. So what the benefits of using this framework I've made. So yeah, as I said, you can fill in every headline and description easily, and you will actually want more to fill in. We also follow a specific structure. So it goes keyword, benefit, scarcity, social proofing, and call to action. I'll go over this in more detail, obviously, coming up. We won't miss any persuasive elements that create high converting ad copy and persuade a user to click on our ad compared to a competitor. And your ad strength will be excellent from using this framework. Okay, that is the aim anyway, if you do it correctly. This is one to note. I've also been working on other frameworks within marketing, because one thing I feel with marketing that lacks is a clear structure and process to do certain elements in order to create a high converting ad campaign, either in Google, Facebook, TikTok. So my aim with this YouTube channel is to create a framework for pretty much every process that goes into creating a good converting ad campaign. So I have some other sort of frameworks I'm going to go over and upload to this channel. So if you want to make sure you see all of them, then subscribe. So let's go over the breakdown of the framework now. So let's first of all begin by breaking down the headlines and the categories we're going to be using within each flow of headlines. So the first to fourth headline is going to be our search keywords we're bidding on, pretty much. Number 5 is going to be the brand name and service you are offering, so service or product. So headline 6 is going to be asking a question to the user, and this is to basically be more engaging and start a sort of a cognitive process in their mind and make your advert more memorable compared to your competitors. Headlines 7 to 12 goes over the benefits and features. We also talk about the desired outcome and the powerful guarantee we must provide. Okay. Headline 13 is going to be scarcity, and headline 14 and 15 is going to be our calls to actions, or CTA for short. Okay, so let's just run this through. So this is the way it's broken down. So our first column here and our second column here is more to do with our naming conventions. So our campaign is listed here and our ad group is listed in column B. Okay, so as I said, this example is going to be going over sort of an emergency plumbing service in the Bristol area. Okay, I'm from Bristol and I've not ever worked with an emergency plumber, so I'm literally doing this as if it was you doing a campaign for yourself or your client who you've never worked with before. So, headline 1 to 4 is keyword heavy. So we're going to be in line with the emergency plumber ad group. So our keywords are going to be very similar to emergency plumbers. So what we're going for is sort of emergency plumbers in Bristol, 24/7, a Bristol emergency plumber, emergency call-out plumber, and emergency plumbing services. So we want these to be as specific to the searches that the user is going to be doing. And the best way to do this is through some keyword research. Okay, so find out your keywords and pretty much keep them very similar to what the keywords searches will be. As your campaign goes on and you get more data and more search terms, you can sort of change up what these keyword headlines are going to be like based on the search term quantity, okay, and what converts the best. So after that, we are going to be using our brand name and service. So for this example, I did Plumline Emergency Plumbers. And I could have done Plumline Plumbing Services if that was just the company they had. But what we want to do is be more specific. Okay, the searches this person is going to be putting into Google is for plumbers, emergency call-out plumbers. So you basically want to say we're an emergency plumber over just a general plumbing service. You want to tailor your headlines to what they're going to be searching for. So it's just a way of being more specific to their searches. Headline 6. So in headline 6, we're basically asking the user a question. And this is to basically be more engaging to the user and sort of start a conversation or ask a question in their head that they're going to either think of in their head or they're going to literally reply to the question and think of the answer in their head. It's just a way of being more engaging and remembering the ad over your competitors. So for my example, it'd be in need of immediate fix because they're an emergency plumber. So pretty much the answer to that is yes. After that, we go over to headlines 7 to 10, which talks about our keyword benefits. And so our first two are just more generic, more broad keyword benefits. The one after that talks about the desired outcome, and we literally want to describe the outcome they are going to be feeling from using our product or service. For this example, it'd be minimize your expensive damage now, because that is the aim of using emergency plumber. You have to spend money, okay? But the use of an emergency plumber is that they will fix the problem now before it gets even more expensive. So in theory, you're going to be saving money by using an emergency plumber right now and acting quickly. In headline 10, we are talking about our guarantee. So guarantee is a great way to sort of reverse the risk for the user. So every time someone purchases either a product or a service, they are taking the risk in buying your products or service, especially if it's for the first time. Typically, what the risk is monetary. And this example is a little bit different because the guarantee is we'll be with you within a 1 hour response time, guaranteed. So guarantees are just a great way of pretty much the last bit of friction a user may have in their purchasing decision-making process. And it is just a great way of crossing them over the line and reducing any friction. So after that, headline 11 and 12, we talk about social proofing. So social proofing is pretty much, it is sort of the herd effect. So when we have social proofing, it's typically done in terms of either reviews or quantity of customers you may have. Okay, a great one to use for a website is testimonials. For this example, we are going over Google reviews. So we have 332 5-star Google reviews and 1,256 emergencies fixed to date. So what I've highlighted here in blue is what we could have just done. So we could have had 300 plus 5-star Google reviews or over 1,000 emergencies fixed. But what I'm trying to get to you with your Google ad copy is to be a little bit more specific. Say the exact number. Don't say 300 plus 5-star reviews because you've probably seen that before. Okay, and also over 1,000 emergencies fixed. If you say the exact number, it stands out a little bit more. And that's what we need to do in order to be successful with our ad copy within Google Ads. Because all you have is the ad copy to contend with. We have some image extensions there, but if you can if you can stand out more with the copy you're using, you have a better chance of getting a click. And that is the whole aim of a Google ad, is to sell the click to the website. So following this, in headline 13, we have scarcity. Okay, so scarcity is a great way of getting the user to act now rather than later. So for this example, I put limited callouts, reserve now. Okay, this was quite hard actually, writing the headline for scarcity for this example, because as you know, with headlines we have 30 characters to put our ad copy with it, and this can be quite tough. So initially what you wanted to go with may not be able to based on the word count, but it's your responsibility to test, try different words, rethink of the structure of that headline, and just do what you can to put it within the 30 character limit, because you have to do it. And then we're moving on to headline 14 and 15, and these are our CTAs, or our calls to action. And what a call to action does, it is basically telling the user what we want them to do. And this is important within advertising. We need to have a call to action to tell the user exactly what to do, because otherwise they wouldn't do anything. They need to be told literally exactly what to do. So for this example, I put call the hotline now. An option I could have put is call now as a headline. But what we have by including the word hotline is we sort of have the perception that this is in high demand. And when something's in high demand, you want to act now so you can reserve it. So it's just another little psychological persuasive elements we've thrown in that copy. And the other one is order your call out driver now. So with your calls to action, I recommend, because we have two, trying them to be very different to each other. Testing out different calls to actions, because as the campaign progresses, we can actually see the combinations and the headlines that perform well. So in theory, we can A/B test these, and if I find out that call the hotline works better, then I can have a few more variations of call the hotline now, and maybe stop doing order your call out driver now. But having differentiating headlines means we can test these against each other and then progress the winner. That's basically what you do with creative testing. You test, A/B test, and then you progress and expand on that winner. So that's headlines covered. And just a note, running along the top on row 2, we have just a reminder of emotional triggers to use within our ad copy. Okay, good ones to use is, we talked about scarcity. There's also a good one to use is humor to stand out. I would not suggest maybe in this example about emergency plumbers. Humor would be best fitting for this. But for others it may be. Asking a question to start a cognitive thinking process in the mind of the user. Creating trust. Social proofing is a great way to create trust and put yourself as a figure of authority in your industry. So addressing the pain points. This is great. Using social proofing, using facts and figures to stand out is great. Ended with a strong CTA, tell the user exactly what to do. Written in simple English, we want the user to not be, confused by advert. We need to write in very simple language that a 5-year-old can understand. And again, have you asked a question? Okay, so that pretty much covers the headlines. The next section is to go down into our descriptions. So the way I've covered the descriptions within this is I've sort of split them in half. So I have one half where I have like the offer, define, and scarcity. And same again for here. We have one half, two halves, because we have 90 characters. We won't always be able to use one sentence to fill 90 characters. So I typically split those into two. And what this looks like is for description 1, our offer. So what is our offer to the user? And then we back that up with some scarcity for the user to act now. First half of description 2 is our key features and benefits, backed up with social proofing. Third description talks about our value proposition for the first half and ends with a strong CTA. The fourth one talks about our product guarantee to reduce any friction the user may have and reverse the risk from the user and onto ourselves. Okay, and we back that up with a strong call to action. So let's just run through how I've done it with this specific campaign and ad group. So our offer defined with this one is 24/7 emergency plumber available within 1 hour. Book now to avoid disappointment. Okay, so we're literally defining our exact offer to the user and backing it up with some scarcity for them to act right now. So description 2, we talk about the key features or benefits and back it up with social proofing. Okay, when I say key features and benefits, we want to primarily talk about the benefits, but your features can often complement your benefits, so don't discard features at every point. Features are often useful, and it massively depends on your industry or your product. Okay, if you found someone who always says only speak about the benefits, then they're not completely wrong, but your features can often complement your benefits, so they're useful to include as well. For example, here we have emergency fixes from only £100 with no hidden costs. Become one of 332 5-star reviews. Okay, and our third one, we're talking about our value proposition backed up with a call to action. So this is quite similar to our offer, but it's a good chance to maybe do a different variation. So for this example, it is emergency plumbing issues fixed quickly that prevent higher damage costs. Call now. Okay, and our last description is a product guarantee backed up with a call to action. So for this example, I have used our gas safe engineers arrive within 60 minutes or your money back. Call now. Okay, so I bear in mind I haven't had a client like this before, so I was using it as if I was in your same position, that you were just doing it for the first time ever. So if you found this framework helpful, then it will be available in the description for you to copy. And just one last thing to write is that this is a general framework. So it may not be suited to each and every industry out there. So what you have to do, your responsibility as a user, is to tailor it to your industry and service. When I have some combinations of headlines, or my combinations of descriptions, it may not be fitting for your exact industry or your exact service or product. So it's your responsibility to tailor it. Okay, so take this general framework and tailor it to yourself. And just a last point to note is I will be continually developing this framework. So subscribe to make sure you stay up to date with it. And just another reminder, this framework will be available within the description. So if you want to find it, copy it, then just look in there. Okay, I hope that helps.